Howdy ho, Andrew aka Kelfier here. Welcome to the Onion Buns and welcome to my Friday React video series. So this week we're going to go down the Fallout rabbit hole, if you haven't guessed by my background. Now, full disclosure, I love Fallout. Fallout is one of my favorite franchises in gaming. I say franchises because I still have big trouble with Bethesda and how they do business and how they release games 40% and then expect the modders to finish the games for them. And now Bethesda's trying to profit off of the modders, which I'm so against. Like, I don't own a console anymore. Well, I have a Xbox 360 that I haven't looked at in God forever, but I won't buy a console. And one of the reasons I won't buy consoles is because on the computer I can use Nexus mods. And if I feel a mod creator has done such a good job they deserve to be rewarded, I donate money to that mod creator. But it's going to the mod creator. It's not going to Bethesda. It's going to the mod creator. And that's how it should be, because Bethesda's got nothing to do with it. Yeah, they made their game, but most of these mods that are run should have been in the game at launch. Like, we shouldn't be relying on mod creators to make these mods. So I have a real issue with, I don't even know what it's called. Like I said, I don't have a console, so I don't know what it's called. But I know that Bethesda has a system for console mods where you pay for the mod and a portion of that money goes to Bethesda and Microsoft. And it's like, no. How about you, when I pay for the game, you just put out a full game? That would be a fair trade to me. No, if I have to load up a mod because your game's incomplete, first off, not all mods deserve financial reparation, But second off, if the mod is so good that you want to donate, then that money should be going to the mod maker, period. It shouldn't be going to Bethesda and Microsoft. So yeah, I have a big problem with that. But back to Fallout. I freaking love Fallout. Like, I love the setting. I love the concept. I love the potential. I wish Bethesda would hire better writers. I really do. Because with proper writers, I have no doubt that Fallout series of games would be the most popular game out there. Like, my favorite game of all time is Mass Effect 1. But if Fallout had better writers, I have no doubt that Fallout would be rivaling Mass Effect 1 for me. I love the setting, the concept that much. Sadly, Bethesda goes on the cheap when they hire writers. And it shows in all the games, be it Elder Scrolls or Fallout or Starfield. It's always the same thing. It's like, great concept, great potential, crappy writing. Everyone's always bitching about AI. I'm like, I say, I look at the writing in some of these games nowadays. I look at the writing coming out of Hollywood, and hey, maybe AI can actually do a better job, because these live people certainly aren't. So anyway, it's kind of off topic, but yeah. Like, I am a huge Fallout fanboy, all the way. So when the TV show was announced, I was nervous because, like I've said in other videos, Wheel of Time is my favorite fantasy book series of all time, and Amazon absolutely frickin' destroyed it. Just brutalized it. Had nothing to do with the books. Rings of Power. Now, I've never been able to read Tolkien. I just don't like his writing style. I love the movies that Peter Jackson did, and I love all that. I just couldn't read Tolkien's writing style. But I know enough about Middle-earth and everything to know that Rings of Power has nothing to do with Tolkien. It's not Tolkien. It's some special interest activist pushing their own agenda, changing everything. And it's crap too. So I was really worried when I heard about Fallout. I got a little more easy or accepting when I heard Walter Goggins had signed on, because there's only ever been one show I did not like Walter Goggins in. And that was Sons of Anarchy. I freaking hated his character in Sons of Anarchy. but in Shield or in Justified, like, he is absolutely fantastic. He is such a good actor, and he is what I would call a character actor. So when I heard he was signing on to play the Ghoul in Fallout, I knew there was going to be something great out of him, and I just hoped he could carry the show. And I don't know if he carried the show, but the show is excellent for the most part. You know, nothing's ever perfect, but for the most part, the show is excellent. So Fallout TV series really broke the bad example Amazon had been putting on recently. And I can't wait for season 2. I really can't. You know, I am hoping and I am praying that they come with the same zeal, and they treat the material with the respect that they did in the first season. You know, that's always what I ask for in these adaptions. Treat the material with respect. You don't have to follow it word for word, because let's face it, there's just not enough time in a 10 episode a season. I wish they'd go back to 20, 24 episodes a season. I really do. But there isn't enough time in an 8 to 10 episode a season series to do a full video game or a full book or something. So, you know, I understand there will be changes, and I accept that. What I look for is that they are respecting the material, honoring the material, treating it with dignity. Fallout Season 1 did exactly that. Wheel of Time, Ring of Power, they did not. They crapped all over the source material. Same with The Witcher. The Witcher on Netflix, Season 1 was pretty decent, actually, and then they just crapped on it. Absolutely crapped on it. And I have no problem with Henry Cavill walking away from that show. None whatsoever. And yeah. So anyway, I came across this video from Variety of all places, channel I don't normally watch. And yeah, I found it really interesting. So why don't we sit back and we'll watch this. I'll pipe in as I always do. And yeah, I think it's really good stuff. So here we go. All right off the bat, we got Walter Goggins in. I mean, the makeup was so well done. Like, look at the face. The makeup is so well done. Like, right off the bat, they did a really good job on this. Especially with no nose. I love the no nose. So anyway, here we go.
War never changes.
War never changes. I had no idea the iconic kind of nature of that line or that speech and what it meant to the game or to the players of this game.
You look out at this wasteland, looks like chaos.
I'm always amazed when I hear an actor admit that they've never really done the research that they should be doing. And like I said right off the bat, I have huge respect for Walter Goggins. Like, I really do. He is a fantastic character actor. As I said, there's only one show I didn't like him in. Everything else I've seen him in, I liked him in. But it always blows me away with these modern actors, because this seems to be a modern trend. In the 70s, 80s, 90s, actors would actually do research on the roles they were doing. But modern actors, it seems more and more and more, they just take the roles. They don't do the research that they should be doing. So I'm always blown away that when I hear an actor say, you know, I didn't realize this, because yeah, this is an iconic line from the games, and it's in every single game. So yeah, just a side point, but it always surprises me.
Thought that Geneva and Graham had written one of the best, line couplets that I had ever read.
War never changes.
Turns out they get no credit for it. Zero. Hey, everybody. My name is Walton Goggins.
My name's Aaron Moten.
Hi, I'm Ella Pennell.
I'm Geneva Robertson-Dworet, and I'm one of the showrunners and creators of Fallout.
I'm Graham Wagner. I'm also one of the showrunners and creators of Fallout.
I play Lucy in Fallout.
I play Maximus.
And I play Cooper Howard and the Ghoul in Fallout. And this is Variety's Making a Scene.
I had two reactions when I read the final script. The first one was, oh my God, how am I going to pull this off? And the second one is just my jaw hitting the floor because they didn't tell me what was going to happen.
It is.
I have no problem admitting when they hired Lucy or Ella, I was worried. And it wasn't anything against her. Like, she's a fantastic actress. But I am so conditioned by modern Hollywood that when they start casting women as the lead, I get so fearful that we're going down the crappy girl boss route. And sometimes it works. It worked for her. It worked for Charlize Theron in Atomic Blonde. It worked for Jennifer Lawrence in Red Sparrow. It worked for Ripley in Aliens. Sigourney Weaver. Name escaped me for a second. And, and on and on and on. Like, there is wonderful, wonderful, wonderful girl boss characters. But then we get into the modern day, and you got things like Daisy Ripley in Star Wars. I'm sorry, that was a freaking travesty. The last three movies were, well, the first of them, The Force Awakens, was just Star Wars redone. It was basically the same thing with new characters, but same story. And then the final two movies were absolute dog shit. Pure dog shit. I'm pretty sure Luke drank dog shit. Just colored it blue with food coloring. And yeah, so every time and then you got all the Marvel movies that are absolute crap, and on and on and on. And it's like every time I see a girl boss now, I get fearful. And I'm hopeful that they can disprove it. And they did in Fallout. Like, I give her, Ella, full credit. She was excellent in the role. But I am so scared nowadays because of what Hollywood has been shoveling out for the last 2 decades.
Essentially, all these characters sort of realizing the most horrifying thing that they possibly could. We wanted it essentially to feel like one scene or one revelation that was multifaceted.
When I read the finale for the very first time, I was taken with what Cooper Howard hears his wife say.
How can you guarantee results?
By dropping the bomb ourselves.
I felt so much empathy for him. It was a loss of innocence that mirrors Lucy McLean's experience, Ella Purnell, because of what she hears her father say, or what Moldaver says about her father.
He never told you where he's really from, when he's from.
That feeling of what happens when everything you've ever believed, everything you ever thought you were, right? Your entire identity, that's stripped away from you. Who do you become? That happens so many times. Lucy is irreversibly changed. This is permanent. And there's no longer like she's keeping a part of her Vault Dweller attitude and a part of the Wasteland. No, she is a different person altogether.
We were trying to discover in the moment what Maximus does with the obliteration of optimism. I don't know how else to describe it. It almost feels like this is going to now be the biggest defining blow that's going to turn him into the man that we will continue to see develop throughout the course of this series. So where that drives him into this new status with the Brotherhood is going to be interesting to watch.
I did not like this guy at first. Full admission. For about half of the season 1, I did not like him. After about the halfway point, he really started to grow on me. And I know what he's saying here is like, yeah, I'm interested to see what his character grows into in season 2, because he was so naive. And he played it well. Like, the actor played it really well, but the character was so naive, so innocent in a setting that had no innocence in it, that it was a contrast that did not really work for me for about half the season. But then he started to take steps forward, and that's when I started to see the potential of his character.
Lucy, let's go. Come on. Hey, we gotta get out of here.
No, not with him.
Why not with him? What do you mean?
It was him.
Crassly would call them whoppers, in a show. And we were like, well, how's our whopper placement doing? And we realized we had what we called a whopper pileup in the finale. And we talked briefly about spreading the gravy a little thinner, as you spread gravy, of course. At some point, there was a sort of a moment where we're like, fuck it, it's Whopper City. And we just sort of piled everything, crammed everything to the end. And the hope was to take all of these big moments for Lucy, for Coop, and for Norm, and stack them up just almost on top of each other and have it all happen as one super Whopper.
I think they nailed it. They nailed it. That final episode was fantastic. And I think if they had spread it out like they were saying, it would have diminished the final episode. My opinion, but I think these two absolutely nailed it on that final episode. It was powerful. It was compelling. It drew you in. Like, as soon as it ended, I wanted to watch season 2. And that's what you want from a show. The worst thing you could have in a show is your season ends and everyone, oh, okay, that was cool, and they move on. It's kind of an indifference. No, you want the people talking. You want the people reliving it, talking around the water cooler, talking to their friends. I must have I have one friend that's he's not as big a Fallout geek as me, but he's still a pretty big Fallout geek. And we must have had 5 or 6 different conversations on this, and we're both excited about it. And that's what you want from a show. Like, you think of so many other shows where they kind of end the season with a bleh, and it's forgotten. And, then season 2 comes out. Oh, yeah, well, maybe I'll watch that. No, it's like with Fallout, I am watching. I've been waiting, salivating for season 2. So, no, they nailed it with the final episode of season 1. It was perfect, and they should not have done it any other way.
As Burger King has paid me to call it. And it's easy to miss in the episode 1, but as Cooper Howard is riding away with his daughter on a horse, you can see the Griffith Observatory there in the shot. So it was sort of wanting to come back to the beginning of the show.
I want to say, about 5 days that we were there?
4?
Yeah,
I believe that was 4 days. It was, the entire production was a water slide that I feel like I kind of blacked out and came out and we shot the show.
We always reference Sergio Leone and The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly as sort of a major inspiration for what we wanted to do with Fallout. It's the whole reason there's 3, parallel character stories playing out at once and so on. So that kind of incredibly, intentionally over-the-top shooting style that Leone used was something that we wanted to build our way towards. We felt like maybe if we leaned into it too hard in the pilot, it would have been alienating or bizarre or made the show feel like too campy. But by the end, when Lucy has experienced so many horrifying revelations, it feels like we're ready to be that close to her face.
Please, open the doors.
The whole show is governed by a sense of what's fun, and here's this heavy moment, the heaviest moment in the entire show, and playing it conventionally might not have worked as well, as opposed to just leaning in and being like, hey, this is melodrama now. We're having the fun version, the elevated version of this heavy moment versus, doing it mumblecore. Kyle had to basically reveal the other side of Hank and have sort of create a brand new character, essentially. The Hank who had lived for so long and led this double life. And that was an amazing thing to see. And it's something that he did so effortlessly. And then he would do Popeye voices between takes.
You see what this place does to people? I'm your father, Lucy. You came all this way for me.
You're already in a weird space because I know I have to do this incredibly emotional scene, so I'm trying to keep myself in a sad space. I'm listening to sad music, I'm scrolling through pictures of my ex-boyfriend, trying to be in that very depressed place all the time. And then you walk onto this beautiful set that is built up. It's the observatory. You've got a ghoul in prosthetics, Kyle in a human-sized cage, giving this very, very, very emotional, incredible performance. My sad playlist, I've had the same one since I was 19, and I just keep adding to it. Basically, it's 4 hours long, so I'll just listen to it throughout the entire day. The one that really helped me on this day was when the world caved in.
As the earth burns to the ground, oh girl, it's you.
One of the frustrations I feel like of actually working on a show like this with...
I already know I'm going to have to mute out that song. So I apologize to everyone if you didn't hear it. You can look it up on Spotify. They listed the name of it and that, but due to YouTube rules, I'm pretty sure it's going to be copyright. I'll upload it and see if I can get through the filter, but I'm betting it won't.
Such brilliant collaborators like Howard Cummings is he's constantly layering the set with these incredible details that you just don't have time to fully focus on. So actually there was one of the lovely details about that cage was that it had a sign on it that said that it was a specific species of macaw from the Griffith Zoo.
We did always know we wanted to come back to the Griffith Observatory, partly because we wanted to blow up our neighborhood, where we are the part of LA we live in, and we were very excited to do that.
That set is one of my favorites, especially in the volume. Howard built the most practical set he could for the interior of the dome of, the observatory. And it just felt like the best playgrounds you can imagine as an actor.
Fallout is a tactile experience. Out of the gate, that's how Jonah wanted to photograph it. He wanted the actors to kind of feel that way, and he wanted the audience to feel that way. I was surprised, to be quite honest with you. I read this script for the first time and thought, I wonder if the screen is going to be green or blue or yellow or what. I had no idea that it was going to be that kind of three-dimensional. It was the last day that I got made up as the ghoul. We got to set, there it was. And I couldn't believe what I was seeing. I couldn't believe the set that Howard had built. And it all felt so surreal to me because it was a volume stage, right? And so the background were these images that seemed so real. We're standing in this space. It's my last day playing the ghoul for this season. Walton is feeling extremely emotional about the experience.
It's very sad because you're going to say goodbye to all your friends and everyone's kind of very excited because you've romanticized the entire grueling 8-month shoot and now you're going to say goodbye to everyone. And so there's a lot of emotions, and I really just wanted to do this scene just because it's for me it was the most important scene in the entire show.
The fact that the camera can get so close to Ella and her performance still holds is beautiful, that you feel you're even more intimately with this character rather than feeling like, oh, now I'm watching someone act, is really a testament to Ella Purnell's incredible acting chops. We're constantly moving until that moment where everyone just gathers around and the truth comes out, and we didn't feel like those emotional revelations would have played as well if our characters were on the move. It also gives us an incredible view of the city for when Cold Fusion is plugged in and Maximus gets to see the lights go on and sort of the stakes of what this thing is that everyone has been fighting over this entire season.
We really wanted to show so many different sides of Maximus in this first season, and I think part of it is to give us all a sense of this can go anywhere. Just the experience of shooting this whole thing on film is a first for me in my life. But it makes you want to work really economically. You know that you've got 7 or 8 minutes on the roll. Every time action is called, you're like, I have to do it. Let's get it now. We got the right flare on the lens, we got the right feeling of the shot, and then walking out of it, and I ran up to Graham to try and see, is this working? He just was like, I think we got it. That was really great.
Lucy, you're coming with me.
The moment that Maximus gains the knowledge that he needs to, we hear him say earlier, I want to hurt the people who hurt me, he finally even has a face to that idea that he's lived with his whole life and what he's hoped to accomplish with the Brotherhood, living in that harsh reality for him. I found it so tragic to finally get the knowledge, to finally feel like, of course, Maximus is going to run headstrong into it, but to finally come to face that reality that you've imagined for so long, and within 6 seconds of it, be knocked out cold. You wake up from being unconscious, and you just expect the person to be there, and then sort of realize, is she alive? Did she just leave me? Everyone is gone. All the solutions that you think that you're coming to grasp are all gone. I always found him very upset with himself in that moment. He takes things on himself very heavily. When you only have yourself to rely on in the wasteland, truly, I think you take things really hard.
The final shot of Maximus, as people are hailing him as a knight, and he gets what he wants. Aaron Moten is a guy who can do soliloquies with his expressional journeys.
Like I said, I didn't like him in the first half of the season, and then I grew to appreciate him. I won't lie, I'm very interested to see where his story arc goes in season 2. Like, we've seen clips of big airship battles, and he's now a knight in season 2. And I'm going to be very interested where his character goes. He may actually become the star of this show. As weird as that might sound, because I love Lucy. And, I'm a big Walton Goggins fan, as I've said numerous times already in this video. And I love him as the ghoul. I think he captured it perfectly. Which is ironic, because I have a buddy who absolutely hates him. But my buddy's really far left wing, and he finds something to complain about in everything, so he finds the ghoul racist and blah blah blah, and he can't he's got no connection to the ghoul. So yeah, it's whatever, that's his problem. But I will be very interested in what Anton does, because he was an understated character, and he's going to have a big growth in season 2. And that's going to be really interesting to me on where they take him. I have a feeling, and I have no proof of this is just my gut feeling, that he's one of those characters that always going to get beat down and have to overcome. No matter how much success he gets, he's going to get beat down and have to overcome. And I'll be interested to see if my gut feeling is correct for his character arc.
We're not the kind of show to release deleted scenes, but the various iterations of how Maximus processed this moment that he's in, of getting what he wants, but it isn't what he wants anymore, is amazing.
Be careful what you wish for was always something we talked about as something we wanted the show to deal with. Like, Lucy's on this mission to find her dad, and then she finds out the worst possible things. And with Aaron and Maximus, that he really wants this suit and thinks it'll be his palace, but it turns out to be his prison. And that the Brotherhood, he's about to be knighted after the show ends, obviously, is where we end up, and he knows that that's going to be a prison for him.
I love being there. It also, for me, I only got to work with Walton, whether I was playing with the suit or I was on set just watching on an off day. Those are the only times I otherwise got to work with Walton. So I even made sure to make some nice jokes to him as like we finally get a scene together and I'm passed out, But he's, and of course he was like, well, you better stay down there.
I want to take the except in this new model.
We were anxious, honestly, about Walton entering the scene so late, right? In the present day storyline as the ghoul. We worried, would it feel too late? But Walton was so brilliant at making the Coop and ghoul character feel totally continuous that the fact that you're seeing the Coop and seeing his revelations in the pre-war world earlier in the episode, before the ghoul strides in very late in the episode into the present day storyline, he's the one who I think through his performance made that work and made it feel like one continuous character.
I had no idea that this was going to be the end reveal of my character or anyone else's for that matter. even for the ghouls. I had no idea. I mean, I had an idea of kind of where it might be heading, but it wasn't until right before they published this draft that it fully kind of landed for me.
Now, I've waited over 200 years to ask somebody one question. Where's my fucking family?
I've waited over 200 years to ask this one question. Where's my fucking family? I mean, that's a lot, right? There's a lot to kind of put into that.
If you got Walton Goggins, you got to write one-liners, you got to write soliloquies, you got a hot rod, you got to do some donuts.
Yes, he can pull off truly anything. So we're incredibly grateful.
It's true. Like, if you've never watched Justified, not the prequel, whatever the hell it's called, or the sequel, it was terrible. But Justified with Timothy Olyphant and Walton Goggins. Go watch that series. It is a masterpiece, and he is freaking amazing in it. And his character, it goes through so many different arcs that it's impossible to sit here and explain it. You have to watch it, but it's one of my go-to TV series that I go back to at least once a year to watch from binge, start to finish. Every year, pick it up and boom, because it is a masterful piece. And both him and Oliphant are excellent in their roles. They are perfectly cast in their roles. Just like he was in Fallout. He was perfectly cast here. And like he was as a younger actor in The Shield. Now, he was a co-star in The Shield. He wasn't a top billing, but he was excellent in the role. Like, this guy may be the best character actor in Hollywood today. Now, I don't think I'm overselling him, honestly. Again, there's only one role I didn't like him in, and that was in Sons of Anarchy. He played a transvestite, and I don't even know if it was him. It was just the character did not fit the show. I don't know what they were going for, but it didn't mesh, but that's the only thing I've ever disliked him in. Everything else, he's been perfectly cast in his roles. So yeah, if you never seen Justified, go watch Justified. You will not be disappointed.
Any actor that I look up to and respect probably approaches it like the same way. It's not a line, right? It can never be a line. You have to believe that.
The line, "Where's my fucking family?" was the line we're just like, at some point in the show, we played him very secretively, a guy who keeps his cards close to his chest, and then that was a line where essentially a card, "Where's my fucking family?" As we broke the season, like, where does it go? And of course, finale, why not?
If they are these one-liners, I definitely don't set out to do that. What I try to do is just make them real to the person that I'm playing. Like war never changes. I had no idea the iconic kind of nature of that line or that speech and what it meant to the game or to the players of this game.
War never changes.
I just thought that Geneva and Graham had written one of the best line couplets that I had ever read. And they really got it. And turns out they get no credit for it. Zero.
He's a guy who's like, "I'm going to the laundromat." You'd be like, "Boom, yeah." Like, that's an amazing line. Walton is like, "No, I'm just going to the laundromat."
You want another autograph, young Henry? Feo fuerte y famo.
Anytime we could just sort of harken back to the Western.
Yes.
We just took the opportunity. And the Spurs, sure, he's been wearing those Spurs that whole time. This guy has been on sort of one track for 200 years.
Yeah.
He's wearing the same clothes.
A lot of those, those decisions came from our brilliant costume designer, Amy Westcott, who I think really brilliantly, it could have been incredibly cheesy, right? That he's still wearing his movie star costume 200 years later. It's like, what? He didn't take it off? Like, this is ludicrous. But she aged it so beautifully that I think it's subtle enough that it feels like it's mostly existing at the level of metaphor before about, is he still this heroic version of a cowboy? The makeup was a work of collaboration between Vincent Van Dyke and Jake Garber, two absolutely brilliant special effects makeup artists. We looked at many iterations with them of the ghoul, and some of them were closer to sort of the most pushed ghouls in the game, who are very disfigured, but what a waste of Walton Goggins, and we wouldn't then be able to see his emotion as clearly. So the most important thing, of course, to us was the eyes.
The ghoul is almost performative in a way that is, you have to find humor in such a bleak world, right? Every single day, people are just walking without really a destination, trying to stay alive. And for the ghoul, he takes pleasure in taking his time talking to people. I mean, what else is he going to do? Looking back at how the ghoul's relationship with Lucy changed over time, that was one of the most fulfilling parts of this process for me, that it was so antagonistic and so brutal, without malice, to end in a place that isn't sentimental. I think it is a person that has seen the loss of innocence in another person and deeply empathizes with it because he himself went through a similar experience 200 years earlier and is still reeling from the loss of that innocence.
That's an excellent recap of the story arc. He's 100% correct. Like that's a perfect way to sum it up. Because if you remember at the beginning, Coop, the ghoul, he just, he wanted nothing to do with Lucy at first, and then he was going to sell her to the slavers to get his magic little mixture, which is a departure from the games. Now, to this day, I don't know how I feel about the magic mixture to stop you from turning feral. So, but like I said at the start, it's, you're never going to get 100% accuracy from the source material. And I'm fine with that as long as they respect the source material. And these guys clearly respected the source material, or at least the writers and the showrunners did, because Walton said himself he didn't know about the iconic lines and everything. So it's pretty clear he didn't do a lot of research into the role, which I find discouraging in modern Hollywood, and he's not the only one. You hear this all the time. These actors, they go into these roles and they're like, oh, I don't know. And it's like, well, read the bloody book. Play the bloody game. It's one of the things I love about Henry Cavill is when he takes one of these projects, it's because he is a geek at heart and he's a fan at heart. So like when he went on to The Witcher, he knew The Witcher better than the writers or the showrunners. And when they refused to treat the material with respect, he walked. He said, no, I'm done. And I respect the hell out of that. So, yeah.
Right. That his tone changes. And when he says, are you coming?
You coming?
I just think that's a pretty cool way to go out.
Okie dokie. That okie dokie was the hardest thing about the entire scene. I can't tell you how many times I must have said that line.
It was always okie dokie.
Me, Geneva, and Graham, and Wayne were all working towards the same goal, and we couldn't figure out how to get there because there were so many different emotions in that moment. Usually it's easy to layer emotions, but in this moment, because they were all, you're pulling from so many non-relatable things. What would you do if you found out that your father, your hero, is evil and bombed your kind of boyfriend's family and city, and your mum's a ghoul, but your dad kind of caused your mum to be a ghoul? There's just so many different things, and it's not easy to layer them all. I can't shoot my dad. I can't do it. And so there's a level of self-hatred and frustration and anger. And then you add on to that Maximus is passed out and I'm not strong enough to take him with me. If I stay here, the Brotherhood will kill me. There's fear, there's pounding on the doors, there's so many different emotions. And so do you do okie dokie broken? Do you do it strong? Do you do it like a badass? And I was going to Geneva and Graham, help me, what do I do? Give me a note, help me. Well, how do I make it better? And they were kind of looking at me like, it's good. Calm down. And I think actually I was having to fake a lot of the eye lines because of the camera angles. And so I couldn't actually see Walton for the majority of when we filmed our little exchange.
It's all how you say it. And throughout the season, Ella says it at least 3 very meaningful ways.
Yes.
4. Up to 4, yeah. Yeah, very different ways. It means something different every time.
Lucy's character transformation is the thing that excited me the most about this role. I wanted to break her. I wanted to destroy her and then see what we get on the other side. And you know, when I signed up for this, I'd only read the pilot, but I also knew from speaking to Jonah, Geneva, and Graham that they had big plans. I didn't know what they were, but I knew they were big.
She's still trying to be that person who has a sense of optimism about everything they're stepping into and a sense of bravery and just being down. I really just love Lucy's down.
Lucy killing her mother is the confirmation of the thing that we both know. And he's looking at me like he knows, but he's not going to say, I told you so, because he knows that that's painful. And there's a part of Lucy that I'd say actually most of Lucy hates herself for what she's turned into, hates him for what he's turned her into, but she doesn't have a choice. She can't stay here. You know, when he says, do you want to go meet your makers?
Or you could come meet your makers.
Lucy is never going to say no to that. She has to. At this point, she has to. And so it's an okie dokie. It's not a broken okie dokie. It's like an acceptance of what's happened to her. It's an effort. There's nothing else for me to do except for put one foot in front of the other.
My echo, my shadow, and me.
We knew there were very exciting elements and elements we wanted to tackle in the second season. To be honest, the death clause, an element we were troubled by not finding the right space for it in season 1, and we very deliberately wanted to box ourselves in. Sometimes as writers, you do that. You set yourself a challenge, and you just say, like, well, now we got it.
I think that, like, we talked so much about the death clause being so central to the games. We always wanted to introduce it in a way where we could do it proper justice. And I feel like, we were very careful to try to construct a first season that would appeal to gamers and non-gamers alike. So we didn't want to throw too much in.
There are mysteries from season 1. There are things that seem benign but may carry weight in season 2, and things that are worth dedicating like an episode to, that seem outside of the overall trajectory of this experience. I like taking side trips, and just kind of exploring something that was mentioned in passing and making a thing out of it. And I know Graham and Geneva and Jonah are down for that too. So we'll see what happens.
Regardless of what it is that Maximus is after, he's almost starved for it. There's a desperation in which he sort of goes about trying to get it. So I don't see that stopping for him in season 2. I feel like he's going to find a way to be going after what he wants.
Many of our lead characters are Vegas bound. And Las Vegas in the world of Fallout is Robert House's town. That Robert House
might have something to do with it.
Will be involved in season 2.
The first thing I learned from season 1 is just always stretch before your stunts. You might not want to. You might think, I don't have to do that. But you should, because it hurts otherwise. And number 2, don't try to guess the outcome. Don't try to guess what is going to happen, or if people are going to like that line or laugh at that line or find your character likable or not. Just be present and do it and enjoy it.
That is such good advice from her. It really is. And I wish more actors and actresses would take that to heart, is if you put on a performance that is true to the character, you have embraced the character, that's going to come through on screen. So stop trying to pander to this special interest or that special interest or this group or that group or oh, maybe I'll get some likes on Facebook, or maybe I'll get some follows on don't do that. Just focus on the character, be true to the character. If the writing is strong enough and you are honest with that character, it will come through and the fans will like. Now, I have my mindset is, I hear this all the time. It's like, well, we couldn't do the books or we couldn't do the games because, that only appeals to the fans and we're trying to get to a wider market. And as we've seen, the shows that do that fail. Your priority should always be to the fan base, be it the book fan base or the game fan base, or in the Witcher case, the books and the game fan base. I'm always surprised there's no novels out on Fallout. I really am. But if you can make those fans happy or ecstatic, their excitement is going to carry through to non-fans and make non-fans want to watch. And when non-fans see you excited, they're going to get excited. But if you piss off the fan base, you've lost it. You've lost the plot right there. And we keep seeing this, like Wheel of Time, Rings of Power, The Witcher, so many other shows. I'm not going to name them all. And they're all failing. They're all getting canceled because they pissed off the fan base. So she's 100% true. Focus on the character. Do the best job that you can do on your character.
That's where the fun is the surprise.
Can I just say one thing? I think Cooper Howard is cool as shit. I think he's so cool. And I think the Ghoul is cool as shit. And I can't believe that I get to play two people that are that cool over the course of 200 years. That's pretty amazing.
So there we go. That was Making a Scene from Variety. It was about a year ago now that they put that out. And I think that's a great interview and really encapsulates the final episode of season 1, which was so powerful, so impactful, so well done that it has carried me through for this upcoming season in December. And I can't wait. When it comes on, I will be doing a recap of every episode because I love this show. And I don't watch a lot of modern TV anymore because, as I said at the start, I am so sick of special interest and real world politics being injected into these shows at the cost of the established characters and the established fan bases. I'm pissed off about it. I won't lie. If I ever met the showrunner of Wheel of Time, I'd tell her to go F herself. And that's all I'd say. I'd just look at her, shake my head, tell her to go F herself and walk away. Because she ruined my favorite fantasy series of all time. Book series, and so I really appreciate these guys that did Fallout because they stayed true to the source material. They respected the source material. They honored the source material. They gave it dignity. And they hired actors that could do the roles. Last week I did on React, I did a video on The Witcher season 4 and 5 coming out. And I said in that video, there was one actor hired that was a good hire for the role, and that was Henry Cavill as Geralt. Every other person they hired was wrong for that show, wrong for those characters. Now, there was a couple of female actors in the first episode of season 1. There was they did the story of the Butcher of Blaviton, and the girl, what was her name? Renfear, I think it was. The girl that played Renfear, she was excellent. She was fantastic in that role. And the lady that plays the head sorceress teacher at the School of Sorcery, she's fantastic in the role. But those are 2 bit parts. All the main characters were, except for Henry, were not well casted. They were very poorly casted. And then they were written even worse. But, so, yeah, I am so thrilled about this show, and I can't wait for it to come out in December, and I will be watching every episode and doing a recap of every episode. because it is one of the few modern shows that I like. And yeah, so anyway, so that's my video for this week. I hope you enjoyed it. I found it super interesting. If you like the video, leave a like, a subscribe, and a share. I'm trying to grow my channel, and a like, a subscribe, and a share does me wonders, and I do appreciate it. Takes 1 second to subscribe, costs you absolutely nothing, helps me immensely. Just hit the subscribe button at the bottom of the screen. And as always, pew, 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 and shit. Thanks for watching. Have a great day. Bye.